is.
Make a motion for it based on that.
Two-bedroom and higher lack of occupancy, that's why there's no interest in two-bedroom units. Two-bedroom units, that's less loss of occupancy.
Set this here for a backup. We're ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get started. I'd like to officially call to order the Madison County Planning Commission business meeting for July the 17th, 2018 to order, and ask our Code Administrator to call roll, please.
Danny Penny.
Yes.
Oliver Bianca.
Yes?
Alan Hatfield.
Here.
James Keaton.
Here.
Robert Palmer.
Here.
Douglas Fritz.
Here.
Chris Hager.
Here.
Okay, let's record show we do have a quorum. And the first order of business is approval of the minutes. Everyone should have got a copy of the minutes via email. Bert's still out. And I think Doc had a,
There is a correction, Marty, on page 12, about 10 lines down, where it says the rental vacancy for 3-bedroom units is 5.89% annually, and for 2-bedroom units, that should say 7.9%, not 2.9.
7.9%. What was the other? That is.
okay?
So it's 7.9, that's the only correction I have, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll floor then for a motion to approve the minutes for that condition or that change. Is
So
there-
moved.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, we'll have a vote.
Chris Hager.
Yes.
Doug Fritz.
Yes.
Robert Palmer.
Yes.
James Keaton.
Yes.
Alan Hatfield.
Yes.
Oliver Bianca.
Yes.
Danny Penny.
Okay, next order of business is a land use change for 1330 Boonesboro Road. Marty, has all notification been made on that?
Notification sign's been up, letters been sent, and the paper.
Okay,
We got Mr. Dwayne Wheatley representing Mr. Taylor and also Mr. Jaron Black.
okay,
His attorney.
okay. You will be calling witnesses or people to testify?
I've got a short presentation, and then I may have Mr. Wheatley or Mr. Taylor available for.
Okay, I'll need to swear them in. Please come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and you can go ahead and do your opening remarks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all for having me. My name is Jaron Blanford. I'm at 201 East Main Street, Suite 900, Lexington, Kentucky, 40507. As noted by Marty, I represent JHV Construction. Mr. Taylor, Jason Taylor's here on behalf of JHV Construction. Also have with me today Dwayne Wheatley, who's with Abacus, who everybody is familiar with here. And if I may, I've got a short presentation on the application for a zone change.
Okay.
Let me pass out to you here some proposed findings which you all can follow along with.
For those in the audience, they are requesting a zone change from urban corridor 4 to interstate commercial to urban corridor 2, which is residential and commercial.
Partial of the property.
Pardon me?
Partial of the property, the majority of it, 50
Yes.
acres.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Yes, as stated by Mr. Farmer, the request today is for a zone change from interstate commercial to UC2 multifamily housing for 15.54 acres at 1330 Boonesboro Road here in Madison County. And The main point I want to present to the commission here is that this is entirely consistent with the comprehensive plan of Madison County. As noted in the proposed findings of fact, the comprehensive plan calls for a diversity of land uses, which includes multifamily within this exact area of Highway 627. And the site is located right in the area that the comprehensive plan refers to. The major growth center in Madison County is in northern Madison County. This area has areas of zoning already permitting multifamily, and of course light industrial and interstate commercial, which is what the property is zoned right now. The neighboring property to this exact site is to the west and north is UC2, so it would be consistent with property that is directly adjacent to the property. As you all will note from my proposed findings of fact, the population of Madison County as of last year was 91,226. This county is growing at a rate faster than that statewide, which is 2.6. And the Madison County Comprehensive Plan specifically calls for the accommodation of this growth in the northern Madison County area. And therefore, changing this zoning from interstate commercial to UC2 zoning would help accommodate that growth in the exact area that the county has planned on that growth. The comprehensive plan also notes that in order to guide the future growth in Madison County, that northern Madison County has prepared for this by adding the infrastructure over the years, such as sewer, water, electric, and utilities, all of which are available at the site to accommodate the multifamily housing. This site is located in the urban corridor. It's down the street, as everyone knows, from a newly constructed school. The site is located 0.2 of a mile from the Whitehall Volunteer Fire Department. Accordingly, we believe that UC2 zoning is appropriate and consistent and within the plans of the county of the development in this area. Consistent with that point on the volunteer fire department, there's also fire hydrants up and down the road. So we would respectfully request a recommendation in favor of changing the zoning on this 15.54 acres there at 1330 Boonesboro Road from interstate commercial to UC2.
Okay. Does any of the commission members have any questions?
Marty, can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
You made the statement that mobile home parks are UC2. Are there not 8 mobile home parks?
I can only tell you what the map says.
Okay, what does the
Dr.
map say?
Biagi. It says UC2.
Okay, because they are in the regulations as the zone.
That
A.
was, it was developed prior to Madison County having land use
Okay.
regulations. So evidently it was adopted this way when you all adopted the map, the original map.
All right. Thank you.
But it is a different zone on our zoning.
It is a
list.
zone, mobile home park is a zone
It's a
A.
separate zone by itself.
Okay, any other questions or concerns? Okay, do you have anyone that you'd like to call to give testimony?
Well, I do, as I said, I do have Mr. Wheatley and Mr. Taylor here. If there are additional questions in addition to my presentation, I can provide that if the commission wants additional information. But that is essentially that is what Mr. Wheatley and Mr. Taylor would present.
Okay.
I'd suggest having maybe Mr. Wheatley at least testify regarding the infrastructure,
Yes, sir.
rest of the college, and also the exact property that you're asking for the zone change to.
Mr. Wheatley, if he could swear you in here.
Please raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Dwayne Wheatley, Abacus Engineering, 236 Boggs Lane, here in Richmond.
Okay? Tell us a little bit about the infrastructure there, Mr. Wheatley.
This property, which we did the subdivision, Traditions and Seven Oaks on down Boonesboro Road, as well as we did a lot of the work for the school. Basically, the fire flow is there. The sanitary sewer is there at the mobile home park. We would be putting in a pump station to pump into an existing gravity manhole there. So that gets us water and sewer, and then of course electric is running right through the property as well. So everything should be in place for perfect development place.
Mr. Wheatley, what is the size of
Yes.
the water?
Hold on a second.
What is the size of the water line out there?
It's either 6 or 8. I know we put, pretty sure we put the 8 in Traditions, and they extended it all the way on down to, they were able to get the fire flow down at 7 Oaks, which is another 4 or 5 miles.
So your client will be bringing it up to 8 inches. Should it be 6 inches?
Through-
Because
through
8
in the
inches
development,
is
yes.
required for it.
Yeah, we'll have to provide fire flow and fire hydrants for
Did you
this
bring a
development.
development plan for this?
We have just a conceptual plan. It's all, will have to be approved by you all, but we have a conceptual plan that I can kind of pass out to show you kind of what we have in mind. This is, we've done for the entire development to be multifamily and. But as you can see, we have quite a bit of green space shown on the map. We'll also have another large detention area on the northern part of the property, kind of in the middle there where there's a lot of green area. But there'll be another large detention area there as well.
How many units are the smaller buildings, the less linear buildings?
I think the smaller ones, most of them are like 8 and 16 units.
16 units.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're shooting for.
16 units in a building. 16
Yes, that's what we'd like to put, yes. But we'll just, whatever the regulations are, is what we'll be allowed to put in, so many, whatever it is per acre.
Okay, so any other questions? Mr. Hatfield, do you have a question?
No, I'm good.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, if not, then I'd like to open up the floor for anyone in the audience that might want to address this concern. You come up to the podium, please, state your name and address for the record, and then swear you in.
Before we forget, I would like Mr. Wheatley to also put in kind of the meets and bounds of the area being requested, or at least a.
Yes, we have.
Okay.
Yes, we have a minor plat that has been approved by the county that will sever off the 15 acres from the remaining 4 acres that's there, and we will provide a meets and bounds description of that. I think Darren has a copy of the plat, so all we would have to do is just type it out and put it in the correct form for the county.
So, just the deed that's attached to your package, the remainder, 15 acres, 19-acre tract, I believe. The remainder, 4 acres, so that, you requested that would remain, UC, or U4, 1C?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Please raise your right hand. Promise to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
Okay, please state your name and address for the record.
Yes, my name's Larry Curry. I live at 300 Gadwall Drive, which is in Tradition subdivision.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Curry.
Well, I too, as the attorney spoke, I read 178 pages of the Madison County Comprehensive Plan, dated, I believe, 2015. And I must commend those folks who took that amount of time to put that together, because it's a fantastic document of a lot of data. And I pulled from it, when I first heard of this, I personally was opposed to it on a personal level because of the absolute nightmare we have there at exit I-95 at the present time. You have to plan when you leave home. You have to plan when you get back home. At no time, I'm a prior administrator for Madison County Schools. I knew as an administrator that time was coming when we were going to either have a middle school or a high school in the northern part of the county. As you know, in the comprehensive plan, there are 3 core areas that were identified by a fine group of folks, Dr. Mianchi being one, I believe, as growth areas, and we're quite proud to be a growth area in northern Madison County. We didn't know where the school was going. I do know that this site was previously considered for a school. That didn't work out. The school finally moved on down and was bought farther down on the right. We're very happy to have a great-looking elementary school in our neighborhood, obviously. But with it comes even more congestion. And my concern, I'm not naive enough to think in front of a bunch of fine educated people that we're not going to have growth in this area. We want growth in this area. But my concern at this time is what's that going to do for us at I-95? I mean the exit at 95. I've been out there for 9 years. I remember, and I can't give you the year, but I remember distinctly the Department of Highways coming in and showing the 3 different options of how they would like to change that interchange there. This was at the same time they were discussing the connector over to Jessamine County. That's been a number of years. I'm getting a little up in years, and I don't remember it as well. I can't exactly tell you the year, but it's been at least 6 years at a minimum. I haven't seen any blacktop going down. Now, we all know where money comes from. And I think our fine judge executive is being very forthright when he says he's been given assurances that that's going to happen. I guess I'm old school, and I don't believe that it's happening till I see dirt being moved and blacktop going down. And until that time, we have a terrible mess on our hands. From that 178 pages, I too, as the attorney, drew some things that fine group of people said about that area back in 2015. If I may, I don't want to read to people, but I'm going to refer to my notes if I could. The function classification for Highway 627 is classified as a rural principal arterial. There's 6.08 miles of that between where it starts and where it ends at Clark County. And when I look at the index of that map, I see that's the only road in Madison County that has that designation. It has that designation because of the traffic flow on that particular highway. The traffic count, and I realize those fine folks, again, cannot speak to today. I can only imagine that it is more today than it was in 05 and 08 from where they drew their information. Traffic counts there, the daily vehicle rate was anywhere from 3,835 to 10,443 vehicles a day. That's taken from 05 to 08. I think any reasonable human being can believe that with the growth that we've had, the new school, more subdivisions, if you were to take that today, I'm sure the traffic volume would show a significant increase. At that time, the volume service flow, as they call the VSF, for 627, Highway 627, was 0.6. And it's stated by the State Highway Department that it is desirable for all roads to remain at 0.6, below 0.6. It's a desirable traffic flow. At that time, 627 was already at 0.6 when those statistics were done. Highway 627, the I-75 exchange, the exchange right there, according to their data in the comprehensive plan, is the 8th highest interchange for accidents during that time period, with a total of 21. Now, it pales in comparison to some other intersection, I will assure you, but for all the intersections in Madison County, it ranked 8th. The critical crash factor, which they noted in the comprehensive plan for 627, is greater than 0.95. And I thought it was interesting to note with that critical crash factor that it is higher for 627 than many sections of I-75. That's not true of all 75. As we know, there seems to be certain areas on I-75 that seem to have critical crashes on them. But there's a great deal of I-75 that ranked below 627 in the critical crash factor. Some of the key items of the 2015 plan, on item number 5, when they discussed key issues, was maintain quality of life for current residents. New development shall not be done at the expense of existing residents. Number 8 of those key issues says, and I paraphrase, forgive me, pay special attention of growth from exit 95 onto the north, because we're all quite aware that there is growth and going to be growth. In the northern Madison County, in there they address the northern Madison County Development Plan. Here's some things that fine group of people said. Principle number 2, and this is something I haven't seen that, so I don't know how this fits to what you're looking at, but principle number 2 says multifamily should only allow a maximum of 6 units per acre. I have no idea how many units we're talking about. I couldn't see on the sign how many acres we were talking about.
We won't either until we do a site
I
development.
understand. But I was just trying for my own knowledge to figure that out. It also, the plan recommends, obviously this is a group of people who have looked at it extensively, the plan recommends that all medium and high density, as well as multifamily residents, live within 5 miles of a county fire station. Does not, matter of fact, one of the recommendations right above it suggests to the county that they place a fire station in that part of the county. Now granted, we have one of the finest group of volunteers at the Whitehall Fire Department that you could ask for. But they specifically, that group of people on the comprehensive plan recommend that there be a fire station, that those people living in multifamily or high density or medium density have a fire station within 5 miles. I will assure that it is not as the crow flies. That is road distance as described in the comprehensive plan. It's more than 5 miles from this site to the county fire department on Keeneland Drive. Now, I simply wanted to share with you my personal feeling, which I'm dreading if should pass, for the increased traffic and congestion where I live. That's from a personal level. Personal doesn't mean a whole lot, except when you talk about not hurting others or doing for others against someone else. I just wanted to bring some things that I think was a very diverse, well-informed group of people chose to put together a comprehensive plan, and I don't think that this particular project fits into the progress for that part of our county. Thank you all.
Mr. Curry.
Mr. Keaton has a comment.
Yes.
I just have one comment that I can help you a little bit with one of your concerns with
Okay.
the traffic. And this was a topic for me, and with the concern of the interchange.
Yes.
I too live on that exit.
Do you?
And,
Okay.
so anyway, I talked to the judge.
Yes.
About the construction schedules.
Yes.
And as of yesterday, it's slated to come out. I guess the construction schedule or the letting for the bids is supposed to be this fall, September or October. I don't know if anybody else checked on that, but just to give you peace of mind, I think with the school going in out there, it's the state realizes that it's time to get that done.
Well, Mr. Keaton, I appreciate that, because I too spoke with the judge executive, and he basically told me the same thing. And I do believe, as I said, I'm a prior administrator for Madison County Schools. I have to believe that Madison County Schools had some sort of,
Influence.
well, yes, probably. However, when as you have lived there also, we've been told so many times, and it just keeps, I want to believe. And I'm not saying anyone has lied to me. I think I've been told in good faith. I'm not suggesting anyone has ever lied about it. I just think it has just been kicked the can down the road.
Well, I think it's been put on the back burner until now, but now with the school there, it's a little.
Well, I should hope so. Whether you ever approve of this or not, that time has got to come. I plan when I go to eat supper at McDonald's, but what time it is, because I don't want to get caught at the light because I got to find some other way to get there.
Now, Mr. Green, too, you need to realize that this commission played a very important part on recognizing that there's a hazard there, cars backing up on interstate.
Yes, you did.
Years and years ago.
I know you did.
And then the previous judge, he got the state to invest some money in doing some surveying.
Yes.
As far as them deciding when to go and do it, that's sort of his political.
That's exactly right, sir.
Usually, like Mr. Keaton said, there's a 10-year schedule, and any new governor can bump it or change it.
That's my concern, sir.
Right.
That's my concern.
We're well aware of that, and
I do realize our prior judge executive, I'm pretty sure he was responsible for lengthening the lane to get off on. I realize that. That was a great help. We all know there's too many stops and too many lights together at one spot. We all know the problem. There's no sense in me standing up here. I just happen to live it every day, like Mr. Keaton does and a lot of folks in this room. I'm not suggesting that. I just find it irresponsible to put something else there of such a high concentration of people right on top of it, and just add to the woes of what we already suffer. As you know, Allen Company keeps that road hot.
yes.
For God's sakes, don't ever pull out without looking 3 times. And thank the sheriff, because he patrols that road. There's no telling how many tickets Allen Company have paid in the last little bit, because he has a deputy sitting out there patrolling that road, and we do appreciate that, or I do, out there on 627. But it is an enormous problem, and this concerns me that it's only going to add to our problems.
There is something else you need to know. The comprehensive plan does recommend 6 units per acre, but the ordinance was changed
Okay?
about a month ago, and I think it has been approved now by the fiscal court to 14 units per acre, which is 14 apartments, not 14 buildings.
Right.
Per acre. And this is just a very rough schematic that he has brought.
Right.
There is an incredible DRT team that really looks, we are here only for zoning.
Right.
Will look in great detail at what he actually can do.
Right.
And one might want 16 units in a building, but one might not be able to meet all the regulations to have
Exactly.
16 apartments in a building.
Exactly. My other question, maybe if I might, it's my belief at the present time that the schools paid for a separate sewer line to their school. And I'm not sure, I haven't spoke with Tony Thomas, who's the architect for the school system, to find out whether or not there was a pump station. I don't know whether the school is gravity fed. I don't see how. So I have to assume there's a pump station sitting down there somewhere across the road, I believe. So what I'm hearing from the engineer, and please tell me if I'm wrong, there would be another pump station. The sewer line, as I know it, runs obviously to the trailer park, and it dead ends right there.
It comes to right here.
Well, then I guess my question is,
No, I'll take it back. It's mobile.
Why-
It's over here.
oh, okay. Then I guess my other question is, and this is kind of in my ballpark and it isn't, but why is it that Boone Village is being asked to pay for a line that takes from here on down into Boone Village? I don't understand. I'm trying to understand how that works, because, correct me if I'm wrong, Boone Village, you folks are going to have to pay for your own sewer line, tap-ons, and all that within Boone Village. So I'm assuming that these folks who are doing this plan on taking that down. What does it leave this person as a landowner? What is he going to do? Is he going to help pay for that line? Or is he just going to be simply charged a tap-on fee?
Because the line is not there.
The line is not there now.
Marty, it is the developer's financial responsibility to run the line.
Correct.
Right. And
To the
lot
edge
You
of
walk
his,
out-
to the edge of his property, Dr. Mianchi, I
To
assume?
his property, that's part of
Just
his infrastructure.
Services property.
The services property. And then Madison County, Northern Madison County Utilities would take it from there. So it'd be his responsibility to get it to there, and they would tap
Talking
onto
about
it.
this property right here that we've been discussing?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, and he would have to, he would be tied into here.
He would tie in, take it to his property line, and then North Madison County would then take it on down
North
past.
Madison County's engineer would decide, would tell them what they're gonna do and what they're not
Right,
gonna do.
right.
That's not me.
I understand, I
Right.
understand.
You know, I don't know.
I just
You know,
question the utilities being
The
there.
developer has an enormous amount of very expensive
Oh, I understand.
infrastructure to put into that.
Trust me,
50
I understand there's a big, it's a big deal to put
Yeah.
money into something,
You can't
hoping
file
that it's,
final plat without all the infrastructure in place.
I'm just wondering where those people are gonna come from that's gonna sit in those apartments.
Now granted, if this lines over here in the mobile, over here at Adams Place are not sufficient, then that'll have to be addressed too.
It goes back to a pump station, doesn't it?
It
Goes back to the
well,
station.
sewer lines have to come through this, through Adams Point, back there to where the old sewer plant used to
Right,
be.
where the old
That's not
water
actually
treatment
the-
plant was.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And it gravities from there across the
It
interstate.
gravities over to right down in the
Right,
hole,
McDonald's.
right, exactly.
Right.
And that's all part of the DRT, to meet
Yeah.
with all these engineers to make sure that you have adequate lines and adequate pumps to move this much sewage. Whether you're talking about the mobile home park or the school, to move this much sewage back to the sewage
Well,
treatment.
I trust those people because that's what they went to school for. I didn't go to school for that.
And, yeah, and all the water lines, the electric lines, they'll also have to meet with the state on an adequate entrance that meets the state's requirements for an entrance, just like the school did.
Is there any requirement to do traffic flow and traffic count in response to a greater density of people in one
I
area?
suspect that they could probably get that information now from the schools, because I'm sure the schools.
I'm sure they took account of how many went up and down that road.
They did not.
They did not,
They did not.
no.
Okay.
I don't know, Marty. It's what the state wants.
Yeah,
It's a state
it's out of
road.
our hands. That's the,
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
state road.
I know I'm asking questions that are beyond your all scope. I'm simply trying to raise issues that I think everybody would like to have an answer to, that's not gonna be here tonight. I mean, it's not gonna be answered tonight. We're simply here, I suppose, I am here to represent opposition to the change, that's all I'm
There's
here
one
for.
other thing I do want to help you out with. The Madison County Fire Department issue. The Madison County Volunteer Fire Department is a Madison County Fire Department. The
Well,
one in Kirksville, the one in Waco, the one on 627 are Madison County Fire Departments.
well, Dr. Mianchi, I would simply say that as I read the comprehensive plan, and perhaps I have read it incorrectly, that it differentiates between a volunteer and a county fire department. And matter of fact, that elite group of people suggested that Madison County put one in the northern part of the county.
I think that that is coming, but once again, that may take a little bit of time to get all of that infrastructure in a police department, a fire department, and EMS.
I don't disagree, I just hope we don't have a large apartment building burned down in the meanwhile.
I do too. Multifamily is
Yes,
difficult.
yes. I'd be happy to answer any other question or.
Any other questions for Mr. Green?
But Mr. Keaton, again, thank you, because you're simply,
Thank you.
he's told you exactly what he told me. And he's telling you, I think, you and I, to the best of his knowledge. I don't question his answers.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Is there anyone else in the audience that has something different to bring up? Yes, sir.
Same information, but
We don't need to repeat what Mr. Curry has already covered, but if he has something new, we'd be glad to.
the only
I
thing new.
need to swear you in first.
Okay.
Please raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
sure. Yes.
Okay. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Stephen Cleetry. Address is 202 Winston's Court, same traditions. But I'm here in a little different capacity. I'm here as the HOA president, and I'm representing the subdivision as a lot of the neighbors that I see here tonight. Just in polling our neighborhood and getting a sense for that, it's pretty much everybody in the neighborhood is vehemently opposed to this going in for the same reasons that Mr. Curry was talking about. One of the things that you were talking about is the police station and the fire department. that is one of our top concerns out there. Not everybody already knows the traffic is done. They put the school in, and going to the home or going to the school board meetings, no traffic study was done before that was put in. So now you've got an increased traffic flow out there involved to the school, and you have a volunteer fire department. And as great as they might be, they go door to door to collect funds. And so everybody out there in Traditions or northern Madison County, our insurance rates are extremely high because your property is considered a total loss for that. And now we're thinking about putting apartment buildings out there. So that's already gonna draw upon resources that are lower, which is the fire department in a volunteer capacity, and your sheriff's department, which is already overstaffed and trying to get out to the northern regions out there. Anytime there's a homeowner that has an alarm set off, it's gonna be the sheriff's department or the state police that respond to that. The response times are not good for us being out there. So it's one of those things that goes back to, if you're planning out the future of Madison County and what we're doing with that and all these roads, we're going into this thing where we're going into this urban sprawl where we're just putting everything in and then hoping for the infrastructure to come later. And I've been in government service for about 20 years now. And with all of that said, everybody wants to make promises, but like Mr. Curry talked about, until the funding is there for the new fire department that'll possibly go out in northern Madison County, until that road interchange is done out there, none of that funding is in there. It's just hopes and dreams. So we're gonna put this apartment complex, we're gonna increase the traffic on an overpopulated county road, and we're gonna hope that the state is gonna take care of that, and it's gonna be state funding. But we have the chance right now to stop that and plan better going into the future before all that happens. And that is the hope of the subdivision and the 100+ homes out there, that we're able to take a moment and make sure that all that is planned out before we move forward with just sticking a bunch of apartments out there. That's gonna increase traffic, increase crime, increase accidents, increase everything to a volunteer fire department and to a sheriff's department. And I think that's some of the same information that a lot of the neighbors are gonna express also. Any questions?
Don't have any questions? You know, the state sort of works on the idea that they don't do anything until there's a problem exists. We've already notified them about the interstate years and years ago. Several of the government bodies have been working on it. I know this fiscal court and this new judge has worked hard on getting funding for that interchange. They're talking about police station, ambulance, and all that. So I know that they've got some things in the work. Now, where it's at, what date we're talking about, you know, I can't tell you that, but I know that that's been discussed.
But that's all great politics. Been doing government service for 20 years. Until there's money, until something moves, until that stuff is there, you're just a politician telling me, hey, here's what I want to hear.
Right.
So it's great to know that the state is saying, hey, yeah, we're going to help you out, until the next crisis happens and they pull that funding for the interstate. So how long have they been talking about that interstate? We're going to get that done. We're going to do that. And then it's, oh, okay, we've only extended the highway. Well, that only solved the problem for a little bit, as people still increase going to northern Madison County. Just driving here on the way, those interstates, even though we extended them, they're still backed up onto the interstate, creating additional hazards. So we're gonna put all these additional people out there, and that's gonna increase all that flow, increase everything that's went out there. And there is no traffic study that's been done. We're just hoping that this is gonna be done by the state, instead of making the state or making us taking the responsibility to say, hey, we're gonna plan this. And just like anything, if you fail to plan, you're gonna plan to fail. So if we keep going down this road, it's gonna just completely overwhelm that. You can see examples of that just driving around in Richmond. Look at the traffic coming out of Gibson Bay. It's just a mess getting out of there, and that's exactly where we're heading to. You had this same idea a couple years ago when they wanted to put a trailer park, multifamily homes out in Gibson Bay, and what happened to that? That got denied for the better. So now we're in the same spot, so that's the direction we need to head. Pending your all's questions.
Any questions or comments? Okay, thanks, sir.
Thanks.
Is anyone else in the audience? Bill, do you have something different you want to bring up?
I believe I do.
Okay. Please raise your right hand. swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, sir.
Okay, please state your name and address for the record.
Sure. My name is Gary Hughes. I live at 187 Winston's Court in Richmond, Kentucky, in the Tradition subdivision. My concern is 12 years ago when we built our house, before we built our house, when I went through zoning, I saw the plans to improve the intersection out there. It still has not been done. That's 12 years ago. To me, that's a level of, I think somebody said, irresponsibility on your part as our representatives here in our city to allow these things to continue to go on. I think all of us understand that growth is important. It improves things. We all want stuff coming out there. But there is a responsibility on your part. I'm not saying it's that easy, but you do have a responsibility to the citizens of the community because you represent us. And you know, we trust you to do your jobs properly. A simple thing as lining that road, we've been asking for that. We went to the school board meetings when they were approving that new school. But to get that road double lined is essential. And how many of you put forth any effort to get that done? Probably none. That's a rhetorical question. I'm not going to put you on the spot individually, but you as a community, you need to monitor that. So, or our representatives. And while the growth inevitably will be good, long-term probably, we're trusting you, and what are you guys going to do? This is a direct question. What are you going to do to curtail that so that it doesn't get out of control? And what are you specifically doing to work with the state to get that road fixed? Because you do have a responsibility to do that. Wouldn't you agree?
Let me, as the attorney for this commission, kind of direct answer that question. These are not your representatives, and you didn't vote for these people. I think your questions would be appropriately addressed to the fiscal court, perhaps. But the duty that these commission members have is to plan for growth in accordance with the comprehensive plan that the fiscal court has enacted. They don't advocate for either side. They don't advocate for voters. They advocate for that comprehensive plan and for planned growth that the fiscal court directs. And as such, they don't have any role in meeting with road departments or advocating for double lines. And in fact, that would probably be outside the bounds of what they should be doing as planning commission members. I think perhaps, like I said, it seemed like what you're directing is things that be directed at elected officials or fiscal court members who actually do have that role. Hope that's it.
Point well made, Counselor. And those questions have been put to them. And every single time, your answer that you just provided, all of us, has been the same. No one has that responsibility in our city to make sure that our city is growing properly. You guys are the zoning board, correct? So you zone it out, and if it's not the right time to zone something in, then you need to deny that. Would you agree with that?
Now, what this commission does is we'll make a recommendation to the fiscal court, whether to approve a zone change or deny a zone change. Then they will have 2 public hearings to determine whether or not they want to deny it or support it. So all we'll be doing here tonight, if we vote yea or nay, it'll be a recommendation that goes to the fiscal court for 2 public hearings.
Okay.
So,
if the time is not right, is it Mr. Farmer?
yes.
If the time is not right now, to expand that area with apartments, then you as a board, you would not vote to do that, knowing that it would create a problem, a safety hazard for the residents. Is that correct? Can I assume that correct? Can we all assume that you would do that?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, the time is not right is not even something that we don't even determine whether the timing is right. We just see if the zone change requested meets our comprehensive plan, and is it a legal zone change request? That's what we determine. Time and traffic flows are something that we don't do.
And for us, that's just a wuss answer. Nicest way I can tell you. I mean,
I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but understand our point. If you wanted us to do something to help you, and I did that to him, and then when you went to him, he did that to him, and pointed the finger at him, and they kept all pointing the fingers. How frustrated would you get over a period of time that everybody points the finger saying, you know,
Well, what
yeah,
I would do
I'm
is
not
I would
that.
poke people that don't have any role in pointing fingers at other people. So I wouldn't poke you because somebody poked me. I'd address that person who can stop the poke.
Gotcha.
I guess,
So-
everybody realize this property is zoned commercial for interstate. It's not
Correct.
zoned agricultural, okay?
Interstate
Yes.
commercial.
Okay, I just want to make sure that.
We do, we understand.
Back on, okay.
And I want to make it clear, I'm not totally against apartments and growth and all that stuff. I'm not here to say, don't grow anything. Not my position here, okay? What I am saying is the timing at this point has created an unsafe situation with the addition of the school, and that we're looking to our leaders, and you are some of them, like it or not, you are. Whether you're elected or not, you're sitting in a position where you hold a certain amount of authority. And now do you think that we should not hold you accountable to help us make sure that things don't grow or get approved
I assume that's
in a
rhetorical-
proper manner?
I assume that's a rhetorical question, because it's certainly not the kind of thing that the commission has. Your role here is to give testimony, which you've done adequately. It's really not to grill them on their job.
Okay.
I have a question.
You need to come up here, I need to swear you in.
Thank you.
Please raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
James Chandler, 1373 Boonesboro Road. Is it true that you don't consider traffic flow?
When it
You
comes to the
stated
zone
you
change,
don't
when it
consider
comes to the
traffic
zone
flow.
change, we look at our comprehensive plan and to see if that zone change legally fits into our comprehensive plan. That's what we do.
But you don't consider traffic flow?
We don't do traffic studies. This planning commission does not do a traffic study.
Now, when they submit a site development plan, we'll take, number of houses, number of cars, and all that stuff in consideration. But we're not approving any development here tonight. All we're saying is that we're gonna change the zone from commercial zoning to residential zoning, multifamily residential zoning.
I think maybe a more complete answer too would be the comprehensive plan, which this commission is bound to follow. That's the Bible for this commission, is the comprehensive plan. It has and does isolate areas that are intended for growth and areas that are intended not for growth, for instance. And it talks about things like infrastructure, which includes sewer, fire, water flow, and also roads. You know, to that, we talk about traffic flow, it talks about roads. So they take all those things into consideration when they prepare the comprehensive plan, and then the comprehensive plan, taking those things into consideration, including roads, finds areas that are ideal for growth, and names those areas. ideal for
So
certain kinds of
this
growth.
board may say, yes, we'd like to see this zone change happen, and then we're gonna see a test or a plan to see how many, the traffic flow, check the traffic flow on that highway, which we all know is overcrowded right now. And when the school opens, we're all gonna see it. It's ridiculous how much the traffic out there. And with the Allen Company trucks and all that up through there, the speed at which they travel, it's a dangerous place to get out on the road right now. And the school is not open.
You know, one of the things, you're in a precarious position because Tradition sits across the street from this major commercial zone. So the Allen Company, if they own this, could move in tomorrow because it's commercial with a major trucking operation there. They could move in with a bus line. They can move in with warehousing, building materials. And it's 2.5 pages of what you can do in a commercial zone. So Traditions happens to have gone in across from major commercial land, you could, all that stuff that you see on I-75 as you're approaching 695, where they're selling the boats and all the other nonsense, they could all come in across the street from you tomorrow, because it's
Well,
already
you know, we can play the what if game. I mean,
Yeah, so I
that's a
just want you
farm
to
out there
understand
too.
it's not just
What
this-
if we made it a hog farm?
Yeah, I want you to understand,
You
it's
know,
not
we
just
can what
this
if
15 acres.
forever.
Don't be concerned just about this 15 acres. You are sitting across the road from a huge
There's other subdivisions.
There are
Huge
other
commercial
subdivisions here.
piece of land. Yeah.
Lawyer's Trace is here also. The
If
village
you're
is
talking, if you're gonna
also
speak, you need
here.
to come up to the podium, we have to swear you in according to law.
So it's just, tradition sits right across the street from this huge block of purple.
May I address this?
I need to swear in, but
I would just
Just
like
state
to.
your name and
Yes,
address for
Larry
the record.
Curry, 300 Gadwall Drive. I would simply like to say, I hope this doesn't come down to choosing the lesser of all evils, Dr.
I just
Miachi.
want you to understand.
I understand totally.
What you're
Trust me,
sitting
I
across
understand
from.
totally what might come there as it's zoned presently. And I don't want you folks, perhaps traditions people seem to be verbal. You and I know each other. You know I'm verbal. Just perhaps we from traditions just happen to be verbal. I've got a friend sitting from Boone Village who's concerned. That gentleman off of Boonesboro Road's concerned. I don't know these other folks, but I will bet you they're from other subdivisions. Please do not make this. I fought that 1988 Jimmy Shannon trailer home park that we now have Lake Rebat. I fought that personally. So we had to make sure it wasn't a Southern Hills problem. This is not just a traditions problem.
Understand, we are concerned too, or we wouldn't sit on this.
I understand, and I appreciate your
every 2
service.
weeks, 12 months out of the year.
I appreciate you. You know I do. You give of your time, and I understand your position within the process. And you simply have to look and say, is it legal to do or is it not legal to do? As your attorney said, according to the comprehensive plan. I've read that plan. I think I pointed out reasons why that plan, those fine folks on there pointed out these were not the things to be doing there. That's all I had to say. I particularly wanted to say this is not just a traditions problem. We just happen to be the closest to the problem. Thank you again.
thank you, Mr. Curry. You got something different?
I'd like to add something, it's different. than-
Okay, please raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
My name's Trevor Kirkland. I live at 210 Hawk Circle. That's in the Tradition subdivision. So, yeah, we're vocal. I think I have a unique perspective on this, and, you know, everybody keeps quoting the comprehensive plan, which I have looked at. I didn't read all 178 pages, I can go ahead and tell you that. I had planned on coming in and citing some of the things that you've already heard. One thing that hasn't been said, I'm kind of unique. I'm not from Madison County. If you couldn't tell, you know, my southern drawl is a little deeper than Madison County. But I was transplanted from eastern Kentucky, moved up here. The first county I decided to locate in was actually Scott County. And I think everybody here knows the growth that Scott County has went through in the past 15, 20 years. And what I'm afraid of, I left there to get rid of it, to be away from it. They also have a comprehensive growth plan, which is a lot more extensive than Madison County's. They had to allow for the growth from Toyota and the subsidiary companies that came in and the huge explosion of population. The subdivision that I originally moved into was slated to have 90 houses. And it's funny because the Traditions, and you guys that live there with me, if I'm not mistaken, is about the same size, about 100 houses. Spot zoning changes took place, and it was hand-picked, cherry-picked, however you want to call it. This can change, this can change, this can change, this ordinance can change, this ordinance can change. The same subdivision now has over 1,300 houses in it. And I don't like that. You know, I moved to Madison County. Yes, I realize, as everybody is well aware, it is commercial down that side of the road. You know, and that's fine. I took my chances. I bought a house in the Traditions. I really like Madison County. I volunteer at my daughter and son's school. I'm as involved as anybody in the community that I can be. But I don't like it when things are, this is picked into, we're gonna change the zone on this one 15-acre tract, with the exception of the 4 acres beside it. We're gonna leave the other acreage, next to it left as commercial. If we're gonna do it, let's change all of it. It's one of those things. We can't pick and choose. People come here for certain reasons. I was one of them. I got the heck away from that kind of stuff. Don't make the mistake. I realize that Madison County has not grown like Scott County has. I understand that. Will you? Will we? I guarantee it. Where do you think all this population has come from? They're getting out of counties where you can't buy a 1/4 acre land for, less than $50,000. People are coming to Madison County, one, because it's a great county. I've loved being here. There's great people. I haven't met anybody yet that I've had cross words with, anything. I like it here. But if you grow the way Scott County has, I have got friends by the dozens that's left there because of it. And it's played favoritism towards this person, towards this contractor, towards this city council member, towards this group. I don't like it. And I say, if you're gonna make changes, you change all of it. If you're not, leave it alone. I don't agree with the little picking and choosing here. So yes, I'm blunt and I'm not as eloquently spoken as some people. But I think, I speak the truth. And I understand, where you're coming from. I get it. Somebody could come in and, yes, they can put a commercial hog farm across from us. We have to deal with it. But I don't agree with coming in and making a spot change of 15 acres and then leaving the other attached 4 as something else. That's playing a little bit of favoritism towards somebody. And I have a real hard time with that. Do you all have any questions for me?
Any questions, Commissioner Evans? Okay.
And I'd also like to thank Mr. Keaton. I don't know you, but I appreciate you calling and finding out about the proposed highway plans. And I had the same issue. The problem is you can go back to, actually 1999 and find the original drawings for the connector road from Jessamine County over. They're still sitting out there since 1999. So I'm like you, I'm not putting a whole lot of faith in anything getting done anytime soon. So thank you all for your time.
Thank you, sir.
I do have a question for Mr. Wheatley or Mr. Taylor.
Mr. Wheatley, you're just a
Mr.
sworn in.
Taylor, you're the
Can you come back?
developer of this.
to
I have a
swear him in.
question for you.
I can't ask him unless I swear him
Okay,
in.
I have a question for Mr. Wheatley,
I have a
and we may
question
have to
too.
ask Mr. Taylor.
Please state your name and address. for the record.
Dwayne Wheatley, 236 Boggs Lane.
Mr. Wheatley, I had the same question, I forgot to ask you. What is the purpose of cutting off the 4 acres way in the back to which there appears to be no good access without driving through your multifamily or somehow connecting up with there is a regulation in subdivision development under 305.5 about remnants of land. If a remnant of land exists after subdividing, and we have not seen your plat yet, we have not approved this plat, have we, for this subdivision of this land?
Yes, the minor plat's been approved,
It
yes.
has been
I can
approved.
give you a copy of that. We
What are
have
you
some
gonna
with
do
us.
with this remnant, and you have no apparent future use that can be properly controlled? It shall be incorporated into the lot pattern of the proposed subdivision.
Yeah,
So,
the
what
4
are we doing
acres,
on this scrap?
yeah, the 4 acres could have access through this 15 acres. as well as an easement that we obtained on the piece of property that adjoins it along the north side.
So you're thinking about having an easement to commercial property for commercial use?
Yeah, our plan, our conceptual plan there that you see would just have one major entrance for both this 20 acres of land and the property to the north.
So you would bring commercial traffic through a residential area?
No, it would have like a, this is stuff that would come along on the site plan, you know, the development
He
plan.
has a copy of that plat, would you wanna look at it? Itself has been approved, but.
I could understand the remnant better at the front of the land, but I can't understand the remnant at the back of the land. But when you got this plat divided, it was commercial, right? You had not come to us and said, now make this big front plat residential,
Yeah, this
but
is
leave
minor.
this commercial.
Yeah, this is just a minor plat, just, normal standards, there's nothing.
And you did that on June 26, 18.
Yeah, it's gonna
So
split.
we'd have several different access points, and this would be a major access for both developments. We're trying to minimize the number of entrances.
So it will not be, traffic will not be going through the residential subdivision, but serving commercial.
So on that 4 acres of commercial, you could basically put any of the 2.5 pages that's in the land use regulations of commercial businesses.
Yes, I mean, toward how we do our development plan, they could just access
Thank you.
the right of way along the northern adjoining property.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Wheatley?
I also wanted to address I'd met Elliot Turner from Northern Madison Sanitation District, and our access point is a manhole in the mobile home park right at our southwest corner of our property. So that's where we would be connecting to.
Okay,
Southwest corner
Of our property, yes.
there.
Back up there.
Yes. Yeah, I met him out there and he showed me exactly which manhole we would tie into.
did he say there would be a pump station just for this portion by itself, or?
Well, it'll be our responsibility to put our own pump station in to get to this gravity line.
Meet his size and all that?
Yeah, and here's standards and his approval along with the state's approval.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Cook or Mr. Wheatley? Okay, thank you, Mr. Wheatley. Anyone else in the audience?
Yes.
Yes, sir, you need to come up and let me swear you in, please. Please raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I sure will.
Okay, please state your name and address for the record.
Kenneth Fortney. I live at 306 Jeremiah Drive in Boone Village.
Okay,
Now, if I track over what's already been said, he just about answered it right there, but I want to make it clear, because Boone Village is scheduled through Nesbitt Engineering to have sewers put in, okay? What I was concerned with when I first heard of this, other than everything that's already been said, is this going to tap into the line that we were told we have to pay for?
No, this ties into an existing line.
Totally different.
Totally different to my knowledge.
Not hooked to it in
Unless
any way.
anything has changed since the last
Okay.
time I spoke with
yeah, you have to go to the main line.
It has to go to the main line sooner or later. Yeah.
Well, our lines are gonna go from that area all the way down 627 over there to Boone Village subdivision. And we have to pay for all of that, which includes that whole line. And that's why I was curious as to whether or not, which he said it's not the same.
Right,
They're gonna do their own, we're gonna do our own.
okay.
The line runs right down through here, right now, they just said it, right down, right through here to the school, correct? That's where I'm saying it being dealt with.
I've seen 2 lines put in there.
I don't,
I don't know exactly what they are because they stopped when they got to the school.
well, that's probably.
And
still
Nesbitt
around.
Engineering was doing it.
That's a forced water line. Okay.
And we are gonna be gravity fed with 2 pump stations on either side of the subdivision. Well, the way the contour lays, like horseshoe, so it's gradual down, and then they're going up to 627 and then back up to the, they'll probably look in the same place he is. But that's why I just want to clarify that.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you,
thank you.
sir. Okay, is there anyone else in the audience has something different they'd like to share? Sir? Please raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. Please state your name and address for the record.
David Daly, 480 Gadwall Traditions.
Okay?
I have not seen this plan, but it looks like there's 8 to 10 buildings, and they said 16 occupant units. That's 160 families and 300 vehicles that we're talking about putting in there. And if that subdivision, they haven't said whether this is a high-end or a low-end apartment complex. Now, if these are townhomes and high-end condos, it's one thing. But if they're like a lot of houses, apartments around Richmond, within 3 years, there's gonna be grass growing everywhere, there's gonna be trash in the yards, there's gonna be doors falling off and everything else. So that's my concern. 300 more vehicles on there. It's traffic speed of 50, 60 miles an hour of gravel trucks coming up and down that road, plus 300 more vehicles at least.
Okay.
So I just wanted to make the committee aware of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I promise last. Let me clarify. UC2 is for 2 or more apartments. UC1 is for townhouses and condos. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Bianchi, because my memory is fading, but I know there's one for condos and,
Single-family residential is UC one.
okay,
Multifamily residential, is UC two. UC two A.
Yes.
Is condominiums and duplexes.
yes. So it cannot, we're being asked for apartment buildings. It is not, does not include townhomes and condos. Am I correct?
If, I assume he's going to use.
We are assuming by asking to that particular change, that's his plans. Can I assume that
It says-
correctly?
Yes, he's asking for UC two, multifamily residential.
Well, I was simply mentioning that because it only allows for apartments, has nothing to do with condos nor townhomes.
Yes, you'd have 2 or more units in each building or group
Yes.
home or quarter home, where the units are designed for rental purposes only.
Right, understood. Well, I share the concern of the quality of an apartment that's going to be built next to a mobile home park.
Yes.
Okay, there's another, yes, ma'am. Please raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Please state your name and address for the record.
Okay. My name is Cynthia Stover, and I live at 3036 Iroquois Trail in Warriors Trace subdivision there on Boonesboro Road. We moved in 1998, and I am a Madison County product. I grew up here. Excuse me. And I could repeat what they've all said, but I'm not going to. I just wanted to also bring to attention the fact that 627 is a major cut through for all those semis that are going from 64 to 75. And so not only do we have the Allen trucks flying down the road, we've got semis flying down the road all the time. I just had 2 teenage children learn to drive on that road, and it's terrifying. So, that's just yet another traffic problem that we have on that road that I never even thought about when I bought the house there. It was, once you live there, you realize it. So I just wanted to bring that to attention.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is anyone else has something different? Yes, sir. Please raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir, I do.
Thank you, sir. Please state
My
your name
name's
and
Matt
address.
Christ. I live at 126 Ashlands Court in Pretty Farm Traditions.
Okay.
A little bit different approach to this. I've unfortunately have lived in many cities, and many cities that have developed out, many small towns that have developed out. In a couple of them, they were nightmares for which I see things happening like this without proper staging of planning. I heard a couple of references to if it's illegal, we wouldn't do it. It's hard to understand from a common person, what does illegal mean to not approve this? What would be illegal from your all's point of view to say, oh, we can't do this other than what it says in meeting the planning guide? And that's a term of a guide, right? So what would be something illegal that would not allow this to take place?
I don't know who said it was illegal.
I didn't say that, I said it, illegal use. It is illegal use that they're asking for.
Okay, what would be an illegal use?
Industry might be something we wouldn't approve, I mean, as far as, that goes, but,
It might be, I think maybe saying something illegal uses. I think that's what that's short.
Approved or unapproved, I guess is where you're taking the legal to an
I think what that's shorthand for
It's an
is-
approved use.
Is it in accordance with the comprehensive plan? Because what legal means is, for a zone change, is it is in accordance with the comprehensive plan. If you want me to, I'll read what this board does have to find in order to make a zoning change.
Okay,
Is actually
that might
pretty
help myself and maybe
Yeah,
some other folks out
Jim,
here.
can I give you this Jim, can I give you the microphone, please? This is where they go.
They were like,
Clap on, clap off.
how about I just walk up?
Okay.
We'll share the mic.
let me swear you in.
Check, check, check.
Oh, here we go. No, I don't actually use this.
Okay.
All
right, let her rip.
In order to make it, and I think it's a good question, because I think sometimes the board is good to remind them. In order to make a zoning change, the finding has to be one of three statutory criteria. It has to be one of these three things: either the proposed land use map amendment, that means zoning change, is in agreement with the adopted comprehensive plan because of reasons, and that's what this testimony is about. Is it in agreement with the comprehensive plan? Number two, a criteria is the existing zoning classification given the property is inappropriate and the proposed zoning classification is appropriate for reasons. Again, that's the testimony that the person who is the proponent of the zoning change, they have to bring that evidence forward. Or three, there have been major changes of economic, physical, or social nature within the area involved that were not anticipated in the adopted comprehensive plan and which has substantially altered the basic character of the area based on the following reasons. Again, that'd be things that should have been brought out in testimony today. The board, I'll tell you, has been given, which is very appropriate, the attorney for the proponent of this land use change has made some proposed findings of fact. Those are things that need to back up one of those three reasons. They have those findings of fact. I don't think it would be a terrible idea to read those proposed findings of fact into the record so that everyone would know what the board is being asked to find based on the evidence presented here today. But what makes it, to answer your question, sir, what makes it a legal change is it's in accordance with the comprehensive plan and it meets one of those three criteria. That's what a legal change is.
Sir, do you have any other
Yes.
comments? Okay.
So, as I said, I unfortunately lived in many cities because of work. The one thing that was consistent in areas of high growth, and I lived in three of them that were extremely high growth: Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, where you had communities that came up from, we moved in, there was maybe 700 homes. And that sounds like a lot in one little neighborhood subdivision that grew out to close to 4,300 homes. It was a very beautiful neighborhood. But the one thing that was done first was to make sure that every stage of growth was executed upon with infrastructure first before they allowed change. I see this being change in hope of infrastructure following, for which I feel is a recipe for a disaster. And not to reiterate everything that was said, but there's a lot of basic things that aren't in place to accommodate this. I'm for the change, for good change. I was looking at this map, highly illusioned when I moved here, and I moved here to retire. The reason I'm here is because my grandkids are here. And to see the population within inside the trailer park community, I never dreamed it was that dense in there. And when you add something in a smaller plot that could actually have twice the density without any infrastructure in place, once again, I feel is a disaster waiting to happen. You know, I heard about they're gonna make the changes on the intersection there. I think you confirmed that date was brought up day before yesterday. How long does it take to make the decision, get the funding, and then start acquiring the land for something like that? You're looking at years. Even if they executed tomorrow and said, we'll start purchasing land, coming in and going through the process of eminent domain and taking over the land to be able to do that can take a couple of few years. I'm for the change, for good change and good plan change. Please don't make a mistake that I've seen in some of the communities I lived in, as other people have expressed, of putting the cart before the horse. You know, people can do what they want to do with most of it on their own land. I know there's a financial gain that is very positive for that person. I'd want to make financial gain too. And I want to make financial gain on the investment that I've made in my home where I'm living. And I don't want something to be changed to get somebody else financial gain that is going to dramatically impact my neighbors and friends negatively because it's being done shortchanged. That's all I have.
Question. Swear you answer. Please raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Roger Dalton, 425 Gadwall, also in Traditions. My question, perhaps for the lawyer, is the three ways that you decide to change a zoning. The third way was that there's a major change. Things have changed since the comprehensive plan was written. It seems like the major change in this case is the traffic on 623. And I'm wondering, does this planning board, what is their role when they decide whether or not to make a zoning change? Can they, in fact, even though there hasn't been a traffic survey, can they take that into consideration?
Yes. I can take any major change into consideration, although in this case, the proponent of this change is not alleging that there's been major changes, as I read the proposed findings of fact, so I don't know that it'd be relevant. But certainly the board can always take in major changes that are addressed to do that.
You're saying the proposal by the developer doesn't address this third reason for saying, yes, we wanted a zoning change because?
Because they don't say that's a reason to make a change. It's not that it cuts both ways. The proposal has to meet one of those three criteria.
I see. But then the board could and perhaps should consider that there has been a major change since the plan was written?
I don't know if there's been any, but the board can take anything into consideration they want to.
Okay, well, I think what these people are saying is there has been a major change in traffic.
They're not asking for a zone change, though.
But it would affect the decision.
Sure would.
Thank you, sir. You have time for one more? Yes, sir.
I just have a question. Do I still need
Yes.
to swear in?
Please raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
Please state your name and address for the
Chris
record.
Gula, 225 Cadwell Drive. If we change the zoning and put the apartments there, multifamily homes, how do those kids get to school each day? They're gonna walk.
Less than a mile.
And they're gonna cross the road because of hazard. I only bring it up to state that we have issues with infrastructure that we need to resolve before. As there school buses that will go that close? I mean, how close does a school bus pick up kids to take them to school?
I can't answer that. I don't know what the county's requirement is.
They'll pick them up very close in Kingston, which the school there makes a very, a traffic nightmare. And your guys won't even work, but, they'll pick them up within a few hundred yards of school.
That too, I'm not necessarily opposed, but somebody's gotta leverage this whole thing. We can't put a bunch of homes there where kids are gonna run across the street to get to the house and play Frogger with the trucks and the cars that are already out of control, so.
But now the school bus goes up Traditions, doesn't it?
But the school is not right next right door to Traditions, it's back here in Caudell or the high school. So yes, it does come because it's, I don't know how many miles away, but.
Yeah, I'd say it's gonna be.
The new school, I take it, opens in August, is what I'm told. The new school right
Yeah.
next to Traditions will open in August.
And I guarantee you're gonna have kids walking to school. No sidewalks, none of that stuff, so.
There's big ditch.
That was my only comment. I don't know if you guys have any questions or not, but I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Okay, thanks, sir.
I
Okay,
do
we
have
have-
one small question.
I have time for one more.
It's just a question.
All right, question.
If somebody's got something to add, please go ahead, but.
Is
No, I've just got a question about your codes.
Raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir, I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Larry Bowers, 281 Braden's Way, Traditions. I guess the question is probably for the counselor, and I know this isn't a history lesson, but what are the proper procedures? I understand the role of the committee here, right? And I see pretty clearly what the requirement's going to be for them to look at the adherence to the plan. I get that. But what comes next? So the board recommends or makes their recommendation, yea or nay. Where does it go after this? And what other vehicles do we have to express our concerns with development?
It goes to fiscal court here regardless of what happens here.
Open hearings?
Yes. This is an ordinance.
Two more.
That the fiscal court will act on, is a proposal for an ordinance change, like to change the law. And so this board doesn't make that change at all, they make a recommendation to fiscal court. Fiscal court then can accept that recommendation or not accept it, make a different finding of fact and overturn the recommendation.
Thank you,
It's not
sir.
even an overturn, it's just make a different.
All right, thank you. Thank you all for your time tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Can I just real quick,
One quick one, this will be the last.
I'll have to show my ignorance, but I've been sitting there studying it.
Please state your name and address for the record so they know that you.
My
got
name is
back.
Kenneth Fortney, 306 Jeremiah Drive, Richmond, Kentucky. Looking at your chart up there, and I will have to say I do not know the subdivision that I live in, what it's classified as. Can you tell me?
UC-1,
Okay,
urban corridor, single family
Okay.
residential.
that's UC1. Traditions is UC1.
Correct.
What about the one back up here that's back over the hill? Is that a UC1?
UC-1 also.
We're looking at one piece of property at this time that's labeled UC2
As of today,
as of today.
yes, Adams Place.
Now, is that what we're wanting to take this property to, is a UC2?
Two-thirds of
Which is the same as this property.
Yes. And they're wanting the one next to that to also go to UC2, and that's the only one out there that is UC2. Is that correct? Thank you.
Okay. Does any commission members have any comments or questions before I ask for a motion?
Mr. Farmer, if I may.
Yes, you can rebut.
I would like to briefly call Mr. Wheatley to take Mr. Miller's suggestion of at least putting some findings fact in the record. We'll get through very quickly.
Yes, I'll be fine, thank you. I should have recognized you.
Thank you. Just so that we're we're clear on the proposed findings of fact that the developer
Excuse
is.
me, if you don't care, since it's been recorded, could you put your name and address, and also you too, Mr. Williams?
Yes, sir. Attorney for JHV Construction, Jaron Blandford, 201 East Main Street, Lexington, Kentucky, 40507.
Okay.
And could you state your name for the record, please?
Dwayne Wheatley, 236 Boggs Lane, Richmond.
And where do you work, Mr. Wheatley?
Abacus Engineering.
And how long have you been there?
22 years.
And what's your title? What's your
I'm a
license?
professional engineer and land surveyor.
And as a professional engineer and land surveyor, are you familiar with the comprehensive plan?
Yes, sir.
And have you been working with JHV Construction on this project?
Yes, sir.
Putting together a plat and plans?
Yes, sir.
And you've reviewed the comprehensive plan in relation to this requested zone change?
Yes, sir.
And do you find that the plan as presented is consistent with the comprehensive plan?
Yes, sir.
And you've worked with JHV and its counsel on some proposed findings of fact today, correct?
Yes, sir.
And can you read those into the record, please?
Yes.
And these are the same proposed findings of fact that I presented at the beginning of the hearing to the commission.
Number one, UC2 zoning for Tract 1, 15.64 acres of 1330 Boonesboro Road, Richmond, Kentucky. Here and after the site is appropriate and consistent with the comprehensive plan for Madison County, here and after comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan calls for a diversity of land uses, including multifamily, with the area around 627 exit being the largest area of development. The site is located within this area of development. Number two, major growth center in Madison County is northern Madison County, which already has areas of zoning permitting multifamily, light industrial, and interstate commercial. The neighboring properties to the west and north of the site are zone UC2. Actually, it'd be to the west and to the south of the property. Our zone UC2. UC2 zoning for the site would be consistent with this adjacent properties. Number three, the population of Madison County as of 2017 is 91,226. The county is growing at a rate of approximately 10% compared to a statewide rate of 2.6%. The comprehensive plan calls for accommodation of this growth in northern Madison County, and UC2 zoning for the site would help accommodate that growth. Number four, the comprehensive plan, in order to guide future growth, notes that northern Madison County has prepared for this growth by adding infrastructure over the years, such as sewer, water, electric, and utilities, all of which are available to the site to accommodate multifamily housing. Number five, the site is located in the urban corridor near a newly constructed school in the exact area of growth proposed in the comprehensive plan. The site is located 0.2 miles from the Whitehall Volunteer Fire Department. Accordingly, UC2 zoning is appropriate and consistent with the comprehensive plan.
That's all the questions I have for Mr. Wheatley. Thank you.
Okay. Any commission members have any questions or concerns? Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, is any other comments before I ask for a motion? If not, I'll open the floor for a motion to approve this zone change request or deny.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Pursuant to KRS Chapter 100 and the testimonies given regarding the proposed land use change requests, I'd like to make the motion to approve the land use change request from UC4IC to UC2, and I make it a finding of fact that the proposed land use map amendment is in agreement with the adopted comprehensive plan. The area that's identified, it's identified on page 169 in the comp plan for future growth in northern Madison County. And I would also like to include the proposed findings of fact that were presented.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the zone change. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, we'll have a vote.
Chris Hager,
Yes.
James Keaton,
Yes.
Paul Bianchi,
No.
Shannon Pennington,
No.
President Britt.
Yes. Okay, so it is, be the recommendation of this commission that it will be, going as recommendation, the fiscal court has been denied. And they, do you know when the first meeting of the fiscal court will be to hear this?
Next Tuesday. Next Tuesday at 9 o'clock.
Yeah. Everyone get that?
No, can you tell us again,
The
please?
fiscal court meeting will be next Tuesday at 9 o'clock here,
This room?
in this room. Okay.
9 o'clock a.m.
9 o'clock a.m.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, next on our agenda is new business. Marty?
Yeah, we have new business. We were having a special call meeting next Monday at 2 o'clock in this building, this room. You gotta.
I can't hear this. I had asked at the last meeting if I could get everybody's email addresses. I'd like to go ahead and send you that language. I didn't get that, but I know Marty has the
You
language.
didn't get that information?
No, if you'll just forward it to them, I know I've emailed it to you a couple of times.
Okay.
Just forward it to everybody, that way if I mess something up, you want y'all, I'd like me to do.
They tell me I'm the one out on the loose as far as email channel. We fix that call. Okay? I don't know if that's true. That's
I'll be
what-
in tomorrow afternoon, and I just want everybody to look at it. They told me to make some very specific changes in that language for approval, and I want to make sure that I don't, anybody, you guys want to have a chance to look at it.
Okay.
Is that's gonna be part of the special meeting?
That's what it's about. That's what the
Oh, okay.
agenda is to change it to the.
My understanding is they're wanting to be able to look at that, within a day too soon. That's my point.
You as a commissioner never have a right to go to the fiscal court in a special meeting.
So, everyone realizes that this special meeting's been changed from Friday to Monday at 2 o'clock. Okay?
It's about the performance bond plan.
Yes.
Is it?
You're looked at it.
about what people
Okay, is there any other business coming from the commission? Okay. Then there'll be a motion be in order to adjourn. Okay, motion adjourned. Marty?
Hatfield. Yes. Douglas Britt.
Yes.
Alan Hatfield.
Yes.
Robert Palmer.
Yes.
Paul Bianchi. James Keaton.
Yes.
Chris Hager.
We need to,
Yeah, I got that for me.
After all that, yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you all. Thank you.
all right, we'll see you.
You understand the fiscal court may overrule us.
I understand it. It all comes down to politics. Yeah, I understand. I've been there.
It's a problem.
Yeah, well,
Sure, we can't.
Marty, I think it's probably about 8:30.
coming up.